Welcome back to I Own a Business. We're here live at Vision Expo West, and I've got Davis Corley right here next to me, who is the CEO of Newton, formerly Neurolens. And so that's big news.
That's right. It's been a very exciting and dynamic time for the organization. We're more excited than ever for the next chapter, and obviously big news coming to market that Newton is how we plan to approach the future. We've gone under the brand name Neurolens. Neurolens as a product remains intact. That's going to stay there. It is our flagship therapeutic product. But as an organization, we had a expanded vision for how we could serve the market and the customers in optometry. And that largely required us to not just rebrand, but reinvent how we're thinking about the organization and going out in the future.
The reinvention theme is really interesting, and that's what I want to talk about. We'll circle back to some of the changes that you guys have made, both from a rebrand standpoint and product as well, because you guys are doing some really exciting things and making some really exciting changes. Innovation is something that your company has certainly leaned into all along the way, and that's a term that gets thrown around a lot in healthcare and eye care. Right. It's a bit of a vague term. So I'm curious, as CEO of an innovative brand, what does that term mean to you?
So innovation, you can talk about disruptive technology, and that almost sounds a little negative or scary. But really what to Newton as an organization, first, we sought inspiration when we were thinking about how are we going to carry this organization forward. Sir Isaac Newton is one of the greatest innovators, technologists, inventors of all time. He laid the foundation for modern optics, and he discovered the hidden possibilities of prism. And so we said, who better to be the inspiring figure for us to lead into an innovation-focused partner-like company than Newton himself. So that's how we got to the name Newton. And it inspired us that we see ourselves not being just a lens company or a device company. We are going to be an innovation company. And innovation requires thinking about that experience in the practice a little bit differently. It requires thinking about that patient experience a little bit differently, and listening to your customers for what are the gaps in the practice that we could help really fill. And we think we're a pretty nimble, fast-moving company, so we look to fill those gaps as fast as possible. That's how innovation kind of comes to forefront.
Davis, from a practice level, I remember from my business classes the term leaders and laggards. And so leaders obviously tend to be the ones that embrace innovation faster. Laggards kind of wait for the world to change and say, hey, wait up, I'm coming. So as technology continues to advance and doctors have to look at the innovation side of what they do, something that hasn't always come natural to them to embrace change quickly. Why is it more important than ever that they embrace change, that they embrace innovation?
Right. And it's funny you use those in the same sentence. Innovation is just a sexier word for change. Mm-hmm. It's just a change that you want. It's change that your patients would want. It's change that you would want as a practice leader. And so that's how we look at innovation. And when we look at kind of leaders and laggards and how is the market adopting to all of there's a lot of innovation outside of the industry coming into the industry with artificial intelligence and other technologies. We find that putting the customer experience first and working backwards is really the only way to innovate if you want to really meet the broad needs of your customer.
You mentioned the customer experience. We did a podcast recently on how that's changing as well. And it's not just evolving, but it's really being redefined by companies. You look at companies like Amazon and Netflix and Apple, and I look at my own kids. I have teenagers, and I like to say, if you want to see what the world's going to look like in 10 years, look at the kids now.
Right.
My kids don't know a world where you can't get anything they want at the touch of a button.
Right.
So you look at Amazon is changing the buying experience.
Right.
Netflix is changing how we consume entertainment. How do you see the patient experience being redefined, not just evolving, but being redefined in the world of eye care?
So a few ways. Obviously, we brought the N3 headset to market in 2023 with a real core focus on that patient experience. We wanted to be the first ones to innovate and bring virtual reality to the eye exam like no other company had. And we feel like we're continuing to do that. And I would embrace anyone if they haven't seen the N3 virtual reality experience. It's one that does exceptional binocular vision testing, but also gives the patient an experience that they won't forget, and they actually understand what the test was about. That is a piece of innovation that Newton has brought to the space. We also look at, to your point, your kids. The average 4-year-old, 60% of 4-year-olds have their own tablet. The average adult is working 100 hours on screens. So we know that 30% of the practice, and this is based on 250,000 measurements conducted with N3 headsets across the country in just the second quarter of this year. 250,000 measurements, 30% of the patients are raising their hand at that exam saying, I have headaches, neck tension, motion sickness, daily or near daily in a severe manner. And those are positioned perfectly for the Neurolens therapeutic innovation. And that's what we know they should find the most benefit from. But what about those other 60%, that 60-70% of patients? Do we have a solution that's really going to address the need? Because they're still on screens all the time. They're still working in a high detail, high definition environment. And can we make the experience better for them? And we think we can. And to your point, innovation doesn't stop there. The experience for the practice and for patients, I think, is going to change dramatically with AI and artificial intelligence.
And as we look at consumer expectations and the advancements in things like artificial intelligence. So I'm curious, maybe this is a two-part question. Where do you see artificial intelligence playing a role? Does it play a role currently with your company, and do you see it playing a role? I think there's a natural fear sometimes with doctors that AI is going to replace them. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think people still want to go. I think it's going to replace some things,
Sure.
but maybe it's in the world of healthcare, things we didn't want to do anyway, we weren't very good at, it was too time consuming, and give doctors back the time to focus more on patient care.
Right.
So do you see your technology addressing that as well, where the efficiencies of being able to address significant pain points with the, as you mentioned, people that are on their screens, people that are having headaches, all the issues that your technology corrects with? How do you see that giving doctors back do you see that giving doctors back the time to focus on a better patient experience?
Absolutely. I think that artificial intelligence, it's a evolution in technology. I've heard a lot of talks by Sam Altman about how the evolution of technology. He's the CEO of ChatGPT, or of OpenAI, which does ChatGPT. It's kind of like online banking. Online banking, when it first was introduced, was really scary. Is all your money just going to disappear by using, checking and banking online? And there was some real adoption curve upticks that had to happen before it became widespread. Now you do a lot of your banking on your phone. I think AI is going to have a similar approach. You're not going to lose all your money. You're not going to find yourself out of a job by embracing and leaning into AI. It will make your life more efficient, easier, and you'll find that it actually can be an exceptional partner. And so one of the big things with Newton in our reinvention there is we're going to continue to grow the Neurolens brand and therapeutic category of lenses. That's for that 30% of the practice. We see an opportunity on the artificial intelligence side. Later this fall, we'll be releasing a product and platform called Isaac by Newton. If you can tell, Sir Isaac Newton. So it's Isaac by Newton.
I see the theme.
And Isaac is an AI-driven learning platform that the practice will have, because one of the biggest, and this is coming back to customer needs, staff retention, skill assessment, training, onboarding of new staff. One of the biggest challenges our optometry practices face. And we've developed an AI learning platform with role play, where you actually go through a 15-minute module on a product or a portion of the practice, maybe it's optical knowledge. And then at the end of the 15 minutes of content, you get to actually interface with your computer. The computer acts as a patient. It talks to you. It transcribes what that staff is saying, if they are on message or off message. How would you want them to speak with the patient? Are they speaking too fast, too many filler words? And it gives them a grade. And so it'll be an actual way for you to objectively help your staff skill enhance, help you assess if they need more training, and then they'll be able to make a huge step forward in a scalable way using AI. So that's our Isaac product that'll be coming later this year. And then lastly, I left a big gap. Neurolens is a 30% of the practice. We see an option for the rest of the practice with a new lens portfolio coming to market called the Sequel Lens portfolio. And that's something I think is an important innovation that's going to be coming this, it's already out, but coming in a different way this fall.
Yeah. What you're talking about with Isaac, that's innovation, and that's where I think doctors need to constantly stay focused on, because that has been a huge challenge for offices, is to keep up with the training aspects and developing your team. And the way it's done is, I think, going to quickly become somewhat archaic in terms of, well, we're going to take that staff member who's got the most experience and train this other one, but there's very little oversight, and even more of an issue is there's very little feedback.
Right.
So this is an area where I see AI absolutely transforming practice in a way that's going to, I think, and do nothing but enhance the patient experience, is be able to offer staff training at a much higher level that gets much better outcomes and results. My main interest with AI, with technology, is not the technology itself. That's your area. Mine, I'm always looking out through the filter of how does this improve the patient experience?
And obviously, when your organization is able to level up in terms of skill development, that is one of the fastest ways to have an immediate impact. Obviously, we are going to be going to the market and asking, we've got this exceptionally powerful AI platform. How can we help make your patient experience better? We've already got a couple of very exciting things, which I can't really talk about just yet, but it's all driven by our customer feedback. How would you want this to fit into the practice? How would this make your patient experience completely different from the people in your market? What would make you stand out? And we're actively working on some things that'll come. We didn't rebrand to Newton to just make a few innovations. We're going to make a very stout innovation pipeline. So AI is going to be a big portion of how we continue to come to market. I wish I could say more about exactly what we're thinking, but that's for another podcast.
We'll do a part two. You already alluded to the Sequel Lens, which I believe you guys describe as a breakthrough for today's screen-centric lifestyle.
Right.
Did you announce that here at Vision Expo? Or
so Sequel Lens portfolio has been out for some time, but what I think the key piece for the future of the Sequel Lens portfolio is, we know it's an everyday lens. It should be worn by all patients, whether you're on or off screens. And what we've identified, we've measured 3.5 million patients, whether they were symptomatic or not, with our headsets. So we've seen a lot of eye behavior, and a lot of eye behavior on patients that are working on screens 97, 100 hours a week, kids that are on screens and off screens. And what we identified was, we believe that our lifestyle has totally changed, but lenses haven't totally changed that much. And we think we can change that together. And we've ended up working alongside VSP, and the Sequel Lens portfolio will be made available this fall through VSP categorization. So we think that's going to democratize and make the access to this lens portfolio much broader and faster. As a company, we are maintaining and growing our Neurolens therapeutic arm, which is where the therapeutic outcome is, and we can drive an exceptional patient experience practice growth opportunity. And then we want the best of both worlds. We are going to be in the most premium managed vision care accessible lens portfolio as well. So if optometrists are looking for a partner, we think we're one of the best innovation partners out there to consider.
How do you see this being a competitive advantage for doctors? Because I thought that's one area where Neurolens really shined. It was something different. Right. And I think we look at the world of frames, lenses, and in the eyes of the patient, a lot of this is the same, but your technology, I think, really stands out and says something different. I'm just curious how you would speak to that if you're talking to doctors on the competitive edge aspect of the technology that you're releasing.
Well, I'll quickly walk through Neurolens technology. Every patient has a custom-driven measurement with sophisticated eye tracking technology in the N3 headset. That leads to a customized measurement, and the optometrist walks in and looks at those visual misalignment and binocular vision testing data, as well as the symptomatic profile, and makes a diagnosis. I'm gonna manage this visual misalignments, and I'm gonna address it with a custom Neurolens with contour prism. What's unique in contour prism is it's gonna be micro prisms in the distance, along with a gradually growing base-end prism as you go down to the near zone. Extraordinarily powerful from a therapeutic perspective. Patients love it. Now, sequel lens portfolio is made for everybody. It's not going to need a headset measurement or eye tracking technology. It is something that we're designing to be more comfortable when you're on or off screens. So what's unique in the sequel lens portfolio is our single vision design, our anti-fatigue designs, and our progressive design in the sequel lens portfolio all have a convergence boost technology. And what convergence boost does is it eliminates a lot of the negative variables that can occur unwanted when your eyes travel from the distance to the near zone in a standard lens. It takes into account the ad power. And what the benefit that we've done is we've done a great job as an industry of treating the accommodation component, but we haven't always evaluated that convergence component. And convergence boost, when you have ad power coming into a lens, it can create some unwanted base out prism in the near zone, and as the eyes travel down to that near, where you're spending most of your time. And the convergence boost is going to clean up that near zone and eliminate as much of those negative variables as possible, the base out, sphere cylinder, and those aspects. So it's a extraordinarily comfortable lens. The users out there, the thousands of pairs prescribed, have had a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and I think that's where the differentiator comes in, right? When you've got something where innovation plays a big role in this, but when you're creating something, an experience, a product, a service that stands out from everything else. So I know you can't share everything that you guys are working on, but I am going to ask you as we close out here to look into your crystal ball, 5-10 years down the road. How do you see your company playing a role in shaping the future of eye care?
Well, making the step to Newton was not an accident. We obviously are thinking about how to be a broader innovation company, an innovation partner with optometry. We believe great companies are able to reinvent themselves for the purpose to be able to be a long, enduring company. You know, Apple has done this, Amazon has done this. All these great companies are able to, and we're going to continue to innovate and bring new innovations to optometrists. I think artificial intelligence is a clear channel for a lot of that. We're going to be looking to absolutely wow your patients in the practice and wow them with the products that we bring to market when they leave the practice, so they're still singing the praise of that optometrist they saw. And that's where we want to continue to reestablish through innovation that patient-doctor relationship.
Well, these are exciting times. Want to congratulate you on the changes, on the rebrand, on the new products. I think it's really exciting what you guys are doing, being leaders in that area. So I wish you nothing but the best. We've worked together for a while on the Neurolens and now with the new company. How do people get more information if they want to find out more?
Absolutely. We've got www.newton.tech is our main access point. We're going to be coming to all of your regions in terms of, we've got our Newton local representatives would love to talk to everyone about how you can offer a differentiated patient outcome. www.newton.tech is where to go find more information, and we'd love to share the story.
All right. Well, awesome. Thanks again so much, Davis. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Davis. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We'll see you next time.